If you want to get a jump on your holiday cards and you'd love to see some new stamps, dies, embossing folders, and glimmer plates, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, like I mentioned, I want to share a bunch of new dies, stamps, embossing folders, and glimmer plates from Spellbinders that are just in time to get a jump on your holiday cards before the holiday madness. I have a bunch of cards to share today and a bunch of new supplies, so I'm just gonna jump right into the card making and I'll tell you what's new along the way. Okay, let's take a look at the glimmer plates first. This is the Starburst glimmer plate. It's a new glimmer plate from Spellbinders. I'm going to use some gold foil and some white cardstock, and I'm using both of the plates this time for the Glimmer hot foil system, and it worked beautifully. Just check that out. Now this is gorgeous for the holidays, but obviously could be used for other themed cards as well. Next up is the Twinkle Sparkle strip glimmer plate. So this is more of a strip that goes from edge to edge, but does not fill the entire card front. And again, just a gorgeous starry background that could be used for other cards as well. These are the Christmas Magic glimmer plate sentiments. So I have Merry Christmas here and Season's Greetings. I also have Joy, and from all of us, there's a ton of them. Now we're going to work with the Camper Life dies. This is such a cute set. I know campers have been kind of in the paper crafting industry for a while, but this set is the cutest. There's a door that opens. There's a little spot where you can put an awning and tuck it in. There are striped dies that you can make the awning striped. So I'm going to do that. I have it cut out of white cardstock and then the stripes out of a nice light blue cardstock, and you can just adhere them down every other one and create that striped awning. There are dies that create both sentiments that say Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas. And there's a snowdrift. There's a wreath. I'm going to start with that wreath that I cut out of green cardstock, and the bow has two pieces. It has the tails and then it has the bow itself. So I'm going to adhere those. All of this is going to be done with little dots of Ultra Bond liquid glue. This is the door that you can place on the die cut door on the camper here. It's got a couple of like a window pane and a door handle, lots of little bits and pieces here, but very easy to put together. Just take your time, go through the little dies one at a time and work your way through until you have everything that you want on your camper. I die cut the Happy Holidays out of white cardstock and then the rectangle out of red and layered those on top of each other. For the wheels, there are a couple of pieces. There's like a white wall that you can cut, the tire obviously, and then hubcaps as well. There is trim all over this camper that you can cut, and you can do that in different colors, or you could do it in white or silver. There's a little tail light here that you can glue on, more trim at the bottom. I just used a couple of different light blues. There's a little bit of red and some silver on that pink camper. So kind of sticking to just a few colors here, but love the look of the trim on the camper itself. Here's that little fin at the back of the camper. You can just adhere that down. And if you're looking for instructions, or at least a guidance, always go to Spellbinders' website. They always have a great card or two or three or four that really show you how to put these dies together. Okay, next up, this camper is can be kind of like a food truck camper or something. So it's got a sign that you can put on top. This one says warm wishes, and I'm going to turn it into a little cup of cocoa. There are, it's a swirled brown in the center of the cup, and then some steam marks, and then a way to connect that sign to the camper itself. Here I have folded, there are score lines on the awning so that you can make it dimensional. I have the window placed here in the center underneath that die cut line. I'm going to place the snowdrift at the bottom of our Glimmer Starburst card here, and I'm going to then pop up the camper but tuck the wheel right behind that snowburst. So the snowburst right beside the snowdrift. So the snowdrift I've popped up, but I've left enough room to tuck that tire inside. This all gives me enough room to put the sign at the very top and the sentiment at the very bottom. So again, lots of cute little pieces. And here is the awning that you're just going to put some liquid glue on that tab at the back and then just tuck it right in. So you can have it popped up. You could glue it down if you wanted to, if you didn't want the look of the dimension, but I think that's just so adorable that you can have like that little dimensional awning on this little cute camper for the holidays. If you want this camper die set to have even more bang for its buck, Spellbinders has a sweet and savory etched die set, which includes other elements that you can put as a sign on top of the camper, including a pretzel, pizza, donut, and more. There's also the sweet and savory stamp set. Now, I used the stamp set with the camper and created this birthday card. So you can see you can do more than just holiday cards with this set. If you are more into the traditional colors, we're going to use the Scenic Poinsettias 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to use the universal plate system from Spellbinders to get a perfect impression with that 3D embossing folder. So you put the bottom plates and then the embossing folder with the cardstock inside, and then the adapter plate on top, and then check this out. How gorgeous is this embossing folder? I can't get over all of the detail that you can see and how raised that dimension is because you're able to get a great impression with that plate system. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to use the Holiday Label Motifs dies, and there's again a bunch of little pieces that you can cut out. There's this kind of label piece, and then there's a detail layer that you can cut on top. So I have my detail in silver mirror cardstock, my gold underneath. And then we're going to start working on the lantern, some greenery, and some poinsettias. So for the greenery, I'm just going to cut out everything that I can out of a green cardstock. And then again, using some good liquid glue to adhere everything down. So now this is going to take a little time to dry because I have a little bit of liquid glue everywhere there. But once it's dry, I'm going to pop it up on our 3D embossed background. For the candle, there are two pieces, the candle and the flame. So I glued some yellow cardstock onto the white candle. I'm going to do white poinsettias with the yellow flower centers. I thought that would look really pretty on that silver and gold background. I did adhere the candle behind the lantern, and I'm going to pop up the top of the lantern with some black foam square and then a thin strip of white foam square behind the candle and place that right in the center of kind of that burst pattern of the motif label in the back. Now I'm going to pop up the poinsettia flowers, and now I'm going to start tucking in some greenery. That's why I just cut everything out because I don't know what I'm going to use or how much of it I'm going to use. So sometimes with greenery, I'll cut out two of each just to have the option of tucking it, one on one corner and one on another corner. So I have the holly leaves down at the bottom, some just regular poinsettia leaves behind the flowers, and then just some greenery tucked up and above the poinsettias at the top. Super easy to pull this all together. I know these are tiny little pieces, but everything comes together so quickly and easily, and you really can't go wrong with how you do that little cluster of flowers and greenery. I did use one of the Glimmer sentiments, and then I matted both the sentiment and the background on green cardstock. This is the Holly Jolly Gnome die set, and this works similarly to the dancing dies if you've seen any of those, and we're going to do one of those after this, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so I've again, cut everything out, and then you can start to figure out how it all goes together. The two bow pieces can overlap, and then you have a bow center that you can put. Now, some people are backing the openings of those bow loops with a different color of cardstock, and you can absolutely do that. But for me, I feel like the loop is supposed to be open, so I kept mine open and I didn't back it with cardstock. It's also easier that way, so feel free to do whatever you want. This is the mechanism that's going to make the ornament swing back and forth like a pendulum, and it's covered up with a little ornament cap. I've cut that all out of silver mirror cardstock. And here's our little gnome. So you adhere the beard to the hat, and then the nose on top of that, and then all of that on top of the little body that's going to hold the shoes and the arms and things like that. So I have our little gnome hat body and arms cut out of the same color, like it's dressed all in that kind of teal blue. But then I cut out the mittens in red and the boots in black. So you have one arm that kind of goes right on the beard there, and then you cover up the oddity of the arm sticking into the beard with the shoe. So it looks like he's sitting with his shoes facing up towards you, and then the arm is behind it. And then the other arm can kind of be holding up towards the sky if you want. So again, and then the boot kind of just covers that area as well. So remember, these mechanisms are so easy. All you do is put a little foam square in the open circle at the top of it, peel off the top protective layer, and then put the bow knot, the center of the bow, right on that. That's going to hold the whole thing in place, and it's going to be able to move back and forth because that big circle is around that foam square, not stuck to it. I stuck the gnome to the ornament with just some liquid glue. So it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. So I'm not going to go crazy here showing you how it flings back and forth, but you can see that it's going to be able to slide back and forth really easily. Okay, for the dancing snowman die, this is the little face. I'm going to back it. It has so many little cutouts for eyes, nose, cheeks, and all of that. So I want those all to be different colors. So I'm going to back it with white cardstock, and I'm going to color in those little openings. So my little coal eyes are going to be colored in with a black Copic multiliner. And then I'm going to use the bullet tip of the Arteza markers to color in the cheeks and the carrot nose. The hat comes with a brim as well as a pom-pom that sits on the end of that hat. So everything layers up on top of each other. It just is lots of little pieces, and you just, like I said, go from one die to the next, to the next, to the next, and adhere everything together. I went a little crazy with the skates because I wanted the skate blades to be silver, so I cut those myself and then put them on top. And then you have the little boots for the skates, and the mittens actually have these little cuffs that you can die cut and put on top. I wasn't going to do it at first, but they looked so cute, I could not resist. So you might find it to be the same for you as well. Just use like an embellishment tool to pick them up if you don't like to work with tweezers, like I do not like to work with tweezers. Okay, for the little tree, it comes in a little pot. I cut out the pot and the star that goes on top. You can see the die to the left here with gold mirror cardstock. So I'm just going to adhere, the pot has like a little tab, so you can adhere the tree right down to the pot and then the star right on top of the tree. There's also a little present that the snowman can hold, and the present has kind of a different color for the lid or the ribbon, and then the gold ribbon on top and the bow. So now I'm going to put the hat on top of the little face of the snowman. I have earmuffs that I'm going to adhere right on top of the hat. So this was one of those ones where I wasn't sure. I was like, should the earmuffs go underneath or on top? And I just looked at the Spellbinders website, looked at their examples, and thought, I like the way that looks, so I'm going to do it that way too. And of course, you can change this up. If you prefer to have them underneath, you can absolutely have them underneath. There's not rules to this. It's just how you think it looks cute. I'm going to adhere the head down to the scarf, and then all of that down to the body. And you can see that the buttons, I just backed that die cut with some black cardstock that time because they were all the same color. It was the face had so many different colors too tight close together. Okay, those hands probably could move as well if you had little itty bitty pieces of foam tape. I decided to keep them in place because I'm gonna definitely have the legs going, but I wanted the hands to hold the presents and the little tree. Here's the legs. You can see that big opening that fits a foam square very easily. Just hide that with the snowman, and then the little legs go back and forth around that little foam square. So I popped up the tree in one hand and then popped up the present in the other hand. And I like that. I just think the little legs skating while he's holding the presents is so cute. And then the little joy sentiment that I had foiled with that glimmer plate, I thought went perfectly here. And I love the little twinkle star background for this snowman dancing around. I had so much fun with these new supplies, but I'd love to hear what your favorite is, so please let me know down in the comments below. If you want to join me and get a jump on your holiday cards this year before things get too crazy, just follow along my playlist. I'm going to link to it over here. And if you enjoy seeing peeks at new products, techniques, and tricks and tips for card making, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you can be notified every single time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.